Good morning. Good morning, Africa. Nigeria, good morning. Oyo State, I greet you from this side of time. Sheyi Makinde, good morning. It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. The program is State Affairs. I am Edmund Obilo. Welcome to my word. Welcome to this side of time. Welcome to duty. The radio man is here. Are you there? How is the president? How is Atiku Abubakar? Have you seen Peter Obi? Say hello to them. Sheyi Makinde is running for president. Will Makinde be president? Will Sheyi Makinde be president? What do you think? Are you taking him seriously? Will Sheyi Makinde be president come 2027? Is Governor Sheyi Makinde serious about being president? Is Sheyi Makinde the next president? The program is State Affairs. I leave you to answer that question. But what will happen to Tinubu? Sheyi Makinde is running. Will Sheyi Makinde divide the votes of the Yoruba nation? Okay, Sheyi Makinde wins Oyo. Will Sheyi Makinde win Ondo? Who will win Osun? Okay. If Sheyi Makinde takes 2 states from Tinubu in the southwest, and Peter Obi repeats 2023 and take Lagos, and Kwankwaso takes Kanu. Okay. I'm just thinking, what is Tinubu planning? What will he do again? Remember, they say he's a strategist. What will he do? During the week, a high court deregistered some parties. And when they saw the handwriting on the wall, the appeal court acted in the national interest. What's going on? Is the judiciary playing politics? Who says the judiciary cannot play politics? Who said? By the way, justices have their own biases too. They are human. Reflection time. But one statement caught my attention during the week. And the statement is entitled, Nigeria Stand at a Dangerous Crossroads. And that is the title of the class this morning. We'll go through the statements together, reflect on it. I want to get your feedback. So get your phones ready. The statement we are analyzing is entitled, Nigeria Stand at a Dangerous Crossroads. I will give you the details and I will expect your feedback. I will also make my usual interventions. Today is a special day in Ekiti. Not just Ekiti. Elections are holding in different parts of Nigeria. Voters in 7 states are heading to the polls for a series of off-cycle elections that will fill 1 governorship, 4 senatorial seats, 1 House of Representatives seat, and 1 state assembly position. The biggest contest of the day unfolds in Ekiti State, where candidates are vying for the governorship. Polling will take place across all 16 local government areas of Ekiti, making this the most watched race of the day. The anxiety is palpable as Biodu Oyebanji of the APC seeks to retain his seat as the governor. The major opposition in the election is coming from African Democratic Congress ADC candidate, Ambassador Dari Bejide. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), having distributed sensitive materials to all parts of the state, is aiming for a transparent process. The police have also identified a staggering 460 flashpoints across Ekiti State. The Commissioner of Police, Abayomi Shogunle, has vowed an iron fist approach to vote buying and violence. There will be border surveillance and movement restrictions in Ekiti. In the Senate, 4 districts are holding by-elections. In Enugu North, which spans 6 local governments, including Nsukka, 7 parties are listed on the ballot, but the race has narrowed to a 2-horse contest between the PDP's Nestor Ezime and APC's Asogwa. Down south in Rivers State, the Southeast Senatorial District will see voters across 7 local government areas, and they will decide among 4 candidates. The contenders are Fabeke Douglas of the Action Alliance. You have APC's Ebenezer Ereware, and you have Labour Party candidate Sam Birikwa. There's also a PDP candidate, Nwogu. Rivers is a special case. You have APC candidate, you have PDP candidate. I thought there is APC, PDP as one party in that state. Nigeria's politics is dynamic. I am liking it. The politics is evolving. And if you are staying out of politics because of the character of politics, men with that character you are running away from will continue to govern. Nigeria's politics is dynamic. It is peculiar. And once you appreciate its peculiarity, you will find your place in the politics. We might say, okay, no ideology. That makes it peculiar. It makes the point clear that political parties are just vehicles to attain power. That perhaps ideology should be individual based. That is our peculiarity. So we get to a time where you have a strong individual with a strong political ideology. He gains power, and that personal ideology now transforms into party ideology. If the leader is charismatic enough, benevolent enough, over time, his ideal transcends into the party's ideal. From the party's ideal, you now have a system that is ideological. It's a system that is evolving. And one interesting aspect of this politics is the emergence of Seyi Makinde as a presidential candidate. If you are not taking him seriously, you might be mistaken. I know Tinubu is taking him seriously. If you give Tinubu this chance, he will want to talk Seyi Makinde out of the contest. So, if Seyi Makinde goes on with fire in his stomach, the governorship election in Oyo State will be a new indicator of the direction of Nigeria's politics. I am in. I am watching closely. And I will begin to splash my analysis soon. Hey, interesting times ahead. Politics and power. History. When last did you read a book? Have you read a book in recent time? Read, and open your mind. You can visit udarabooks.com. Pick a book, order a book, read a book. The politics is going to get hot as insecurity gets hotter. I hope you know. Insecurity will get hotter as the politics gets hotter. I hope you know. So as you dance along with the political class, be vigilant. The bandits are still around. They are re-strategizing. Are you re-strategizing too? In Ondo State, the South Senatorial District is up for grabs, with voters spread across polling units in 6 local governments. 4 candidates are in the running. You have APC's Professor Francis Faduyile. You have APM's Adeolu Akinwumi Harrison. APM is Seyi Makinde's party. And you have APP's Prince Adesanya. APP, Africa's People's Party. That is one party that is popular in Imo State. And Dr. Chima Amadi is at the head of that party in Imo. The party is on ground in Imo State. And I'm looking at what the APP will do in Imo State. The APP in Imo State is already a threat against APC. I'm looking at what the NDC will do in Imo State. And the ADC, NDC, ADC, APC. Okay. PDP, dead. But dry bones will rise again. The Nasarawa North Senatorial District presents the most crowded race. You have 6 candidates cleared to contest. Interesting times. 2 other seats are also being decided. In Kano State, 3 candidates are competing for the Dawankin Wara Federal Constituency seat in the House of Representatives. In Kebbi State, the Zuru State constituency by-election is a straight contest between the APC and the Labour Party. I can see the name of Labaran Maku here. Labaran Maku, a Minister of Information. a former Minister of Information. He's running for the Senate position. He wants to occupy the Nasarawa North seat in the Senate. Labaran Maku is running under Labour Party in Nasarawa State. INEC has confirmed that sensitive materials have been distributed to all polling areas and security agencies are in place. INEC is under watch. INEC, with the way INEC has been behaving, INEC is a participant in this election. And Nigerians must closely watch INEC. Free and fair election. Free and fair. In a country that is disturbed by unmitigated banditry, terrorism, corruption, can there be free and fair election? You know, the character of a country also determines the fairness of the election. A country besieged by violence, a country besieged by unimaginable poverty, a country being terrorized by gunmen, a country being held down by deeply corrupt leadership. Can there be free and fair election in that kind of country? You know, garbage in, garbage out. So what is in? Poverty, violence. It will also come out in its election, don't you think so? That is the truth. Garbage in, garbage out. It is a law in computer science. What are the garbage? Poverty, violence, corruption, weak institutions. So when you have this kind of situation, won't you be a dreamer to be thinking of free and fair election? Because those who are corrupt, you also find them in INEC. Because they are part of the Nigerian system. You also find them in the courts. You will find them among the professors that will conduct the election. You will find them among the youth corps members, because that's the character of the state. Are you still thinking of free and fair election? So what would then make it free? What would then make it free? It won't be free. But due to the contestations between the corrupt, violent elements on both sides, it might not create a sort of equilibrium. That is, if they are well matched. In a place like Ekiti, there is no equilibrium because you have a governor already sitting. He's well guarded by the state. Anyway, let's see what will come. The point I'm making is that garbage in, garbage out. So it becomes a politics of strong men. If you know I am solid, I'm strong in my polling unit, you won't come near because we will die there. So that is what will determine the fairness. And that is why Nigerian politics is violent. And that is why Wike is prominent. Because you need to match him, man to man, money to money, and perhaps violence to violence. And that is why the violence is escalating. Don't deceive yourself. It's not just about the Fulani bandit. It is the activities of the political class that is energizing the bandit and the terrorist. There is a causal element. It's not just the bandit. Something produced the bandit. It is the activities of the political class that produced the bandit. If you go to Zamfara, it's like the headquarters of the bandit. If you go to Zamfara, the political elite, the military elite, they are all engaged in mining in that zone. And mining activities also produces its own level of violence. So to survive, you must play the game of guns. Economic value comes to the elite. They play the game of guns. Guns are handed to the boys, and the boys will also use the gun to survive. Okay? It is the activities of the political class that produce the bandits. So if you want to tackle the bandits, the character of the political class must change. The character of the political class has not changed. So banditry will rise. Because the character of the political class is getting worse by the day. Nothing has changed. Tinubu's politics remains the same. They will rather keep the billions instead of using the billions to fund education, construct good roads, fund healthcare. They would rather keep it for politicking. Any money kept for politicking is blood money, and it will produce more blood. Because by not investing in healthcare, by not investing in quality education, you have deprived the people of good life, so they die in hospitals. Any money stolen from state coffers is blood money. And once blood money is deployed, it produces banditry. Hey. You can talk about the Fulani today. If you go and do the research, any group of people that live like herdsmen will become violent. That is why when you go to Bere, if you go to Bere, you see poor children, out of school children. They are more likely to be violent. They are more likely to be kidnappers. And that's what has happened to the Fulani and the Hausas in the north. They've been so impoverished over time. They've been so impoverished over time. The South is feeling its own impoverishment. But what makes the South a bit better is the power of individualism. You know, in the South, you can call the bluff of government. You can call the bluff of one big man in your areas. In the South, we are hustlers. We are hustlers. Somehow, we must survive. We move. We are hustlers. So somehow, we take care of ourselves. That's why you can see everybody have boreholes in their houses. You have your inverter. You can't wait for the government. But in the North, it's a feudalistic system. They always look up to the elite to feed them. You know, that's why you have the talakawas. You know how you have children with begging bowls. You know, they always look up to the elite who will gather them and feed them. Feudalism. You know, go and rear this cow for me. But in the South, we are a bit individualistic. We can take care of ourselves. When the government schools were failing, individuals started setting up private schools. So that is why we are a bit immune. But poverty is rising in the South. Be careful. Be careful. Nigeria stand at a dangerous crossroads. What happens when the referee is friends with one team? When the rule book keeps getting rewritten by the coach? And when the fans stop believing that the game is fair? What happens? Under that situation, you don't get a dramatic collapse all at once. You get a slow death of trust. And that is exactly what a group of Nigerians is warning about. We are talking about a statement signed by people like Professor Tahiru Jega, remember Jega, former INEC chairman. He once ran Nigeria's election. He supervised the election that brought Buhari to power. Tahiru Jega is a Fulani man. Another man who signed the statement we are analyzing is Professor Ibrahim Gambari, a former chief of staff to President Muhammadu Buhari. What are the other names? Look at the names. I want you to take note of the names that signed this statement. There's Dr. Hosseini Abdul. There is Ambassador Fatima Bala. Dr. Usman Bugaji also signed this statement. Dr. Yahya Hashim and Professor Jibrin Ibrahim. Other signatories are Professor Mohammed Kuna, Abubakar Balarabi Mahmood, and Kabiru Yusuf. 10 of them signed the statement. So let's go into the statement and see what they are saying. And you also help me break it down. They are saying in their June 8th statement that Nigeria stands at a dangerous crossroads. Here's what they said. Nigeria stands at a dangerous crossroads where rising insecurity, an alarming level of electoral manipulation by government, and the weakening of democratic institutions are converging into a national crisis that threatens the country's survival. Do you agree with them? Do you agree with that line of their thoughts? Nigeria stands at a dangerous crossroads where rising insecurity, an alarming level of electoral manipulation by government, and the weakening of democratic institutions are converging into a national crisis that threatens the country's survival. Here's what they say is happening. They are saying that the executive branch, led by President Tinubu, now controls nearly everything. The legislature, they say, has been bent to Tinubu's will. They say that the judiciary has lost its way. Okay, this is how they put it in the statement. The legislative branch has been placed under near total control of the executive branch. The judiciary appears to have lost both its independence and its integrity. What do you think? Who will be my first caller? Call on WhatsApp. Remember, I am broadcasting from outside Nigeria, so I'm broadcasting through the internet. There will be delay. If you monitor your call through your transistor radio, there will be delay. By the time you are saying hello to Edmondo Bilo, you might hear it about 5 seconds later. So what does this mean? Don't monitor your call through your radio. Monitor your call through your phone. Once you hear the hello, you speak to the radio man. A deal? Good. 080-999-18449. That is the WhatsApp number to call. Call on WhatsApp. Let's discuss this statement. 080-999-18449. That's the number to call to join this discourse. All right, we got our first caller.
Morning.
Good morning to you.
This is Ambassador Yusuf Uega from Ibadan State.
The ball is in your court.
I'm trying to analyze what you were saying this morning in the studio on the importance of getting credible people that will be accountable in leadership. So when it comes to leadership of the country, we need people that are deliberate in delivery. Like the presidential spokesperson was going around radio stations in Ibadan recently, and he was giving people reason why the economy of the country is better. But unfortunately, it is not felt among the common people. The rate at which we buy gas is increasing. The rate we buy petrol, the rate we buy almost everything that is consumable in the market now. But leadership should work for the common people. Why is it difficult for the central government to give a quality leadership that will work for the people? And that is why there is a stage where people will be unable to endure. There will be a stage where people will try to face their fears. There will be a stage where people will start clamoring for leadership forcefully. We should not push people to a stage of anarchy. The central government needs to work hard, seriously hard, to deliver good governance. We are just 11 to 10 months to election. Unfortunately, a lot of consumables are increasing. This is the first time. And the presidential spokesman was saying a whole lot yesterday when I was listening, and I was marveled at the fact that, is this man truly buying anything in the market now? Is this man enjoying what we are enjoying in the street?
Thank you.
Is this man, are we going to continue this way where people just come from Abuja to lie to us? Are they really feeling what we are feeling? This is, we thank God we have a better government in Oyo State that is working for the people, and we hope and pray that God will bring back our teachers and children from the hand of bandits.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Headman Obilu.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's take this call. This caller, I picked you.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Turn down the volume of your radio.
Good morning. Hello.
The same advice I gave just now. I gave this advice just now that callers should not be using their radio to monitor. I'm not going to take that call.
I'm not using radio. I'm using my phone.
But I was hearing what the caller was saying, the last caller.
Yes, I've got out of the place. I've got out of the place. Now, can you hear it? You can't hear it again. What I'm going to say is that when did you say these people signed the paper they signed? Was it the tenure of this government, or tenure of Buhari, or tenure of Jonathan?
June 8th, they signed the statement on the 8th of June, 2026.
2026. That means it's the tenure of this government. What I want to say is that I don't know what is actually happening in this country. We are just self-centered. All what they said is all true. But the point is that, is it just now? Even those people that signed, all these things that they signed into, the same thing was happening even when they were in the government, when they are the one govern this country. But they will not say all this, they will not sign this when they were there. They can only sign it when another person is there. All these past rulers, they will start now to say something that they did not do when they were there. They are there to do all these things. They know it. Why didn't they do it when they were there? They did not do it, and they expect somebody that is there now to come and do. That is the problem. When we start to know that we are not good, if I know that I am not good, if I understand and I realize that I am not good, then this country will be okay. But pointing to another person, why you are just even too bad or worse than the person, it is the country is not going anywhere.
Thank you.
The country has problem because of our self-centeredness. Self-centeredness. It is me. When Buhari was there, he would not sign what he signed now in 2026. When Gambari was there, Gambari will not sign what he signed now when he was there.
Thank you.
If Obasanjo is there, so that is it.
Thank you.
So we need to be. It is our mind. This country needs restructuring. Then everybody will know where he stands. If I will fight my own brother, I will fight my own brother. But if I'm fighting somebody's brother, and that brother, that person, his own person will say, you are fighting my brother. That is the problem now.
All right.
So let them know. You know where I'm going. You know.
You have made your point, sir. You have made your point. Thank you. The program is State Affairs on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. Stay tuned. Stay cool. Okay, let's take more calls as we go. Hello, good morning.
My name is Olayinka Jimo from Ibadan, Nigeria. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you for the good job and the updates you've been giving us. So, Edmond, I want to make comments about your, should I say, your question this morning, that why is it so, or something that, okay, you see, this is not the first time in the history of Nigeria. It has been like that. It's been like that. Let me just say it. I don't see anyone that can mention any president of this country that never take total charge of this judicial or legislative or whatsoever. Before Tinubu, Buhari did it. Before Buhari, Jonathan did it. before Jonathan Obasanjo did. After Tinubu, another person will still do it. So it's not something new, it's not something strange. It is that doesn't say it is normal. It's abnormal. It's absurd. I don't know when we ever support, but even to the level of these state governors and others, that's what they do as far as it is Nigeria concerned. They want to have all the power. These people are the most powerful people in the world. I can even say Nigeria president is the most powerful in the world because he has total and absolute control of every arm of government. So that's where my position lies.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Interesting. Nigeria stands at a dangerous crossroads where rising insecurity and an alarming level of electoral manipulation by government and the weakening of democratic institutions are converging into a national crisis that threatens the country's survival. So they are saying the executive branch, the president and his team, now controls nearly everything. The legislature has been bent to the executive's will. The judiciary has lost its way. That is the point they are making. Are you on X? Are you on YouTube? Are you on Facebook? Let me meet you there. Let me meet you there. I'm coming on Facebook. Okay. Why is Facebook not streaming? Let's see. Hello, good morning.
Hello. Morning, sir. Morning, Edmond Wopilo. I'm Mazi from Germany. Nice hearing your voice this morning again. You know one thing with us, Nigerians, we are not serious. I mean, Edmond, you have traveled around the world. You know that Nigerians are not serious. Edmond, tell me, where on earth could a minister build houses, mansion, duplexes for judges and justices? I mean, Edmond, where is it done anywhere? And the president of a country and the minister are so proud, displacing this thing, dashing mansions to judges and justices. It's never done anywhere because this is total corruption. That means you have influenced the judges. The judges are no more neutral. That's what it means. The judges are no longer neutral. Anybody who is going to this, to meet these judges in their court, that person is wasting his or her time because these judges are no more neutral. Mr. Edmond, here in Germany in 2012, German President Christian Wolff resigned. Do you know why he resigned? Because he went to get a loan. Okay, that is lower than what ordinary Germans get from the same bank because of his influence, because he had a manager. So they gave him a bonus or a discount. Check it. That's why that man resigned in 2012, because it was a corruption. So if a president of a country could resign because of just a bonus he got from a business partner, imagine what could happen in Germany if ministers if judges are given duplexes. My question is,
Do these judges, are they not receiving salaries? Are they not under civil service? Because this is what corruption is all about. Corruption is not when you stole, billions of dollars. Corruption is when you give these things to these people, and that judges and justices, their influence in a country matters a lot. That is the difference between democracy, Western democracy and African democracy, because the court is neutral. I have been here for a very long time, more than 36 years now. I've never seen judges in my life in Germany, parading themselves with the politicians, dining and whining with the politicians. Imagine a civil servant, driving Rolls Royce, back in Nigeria, on third roads in Nigeria where there is no running water. Edmond, there is no running water, potable running water anywhere in Nigeria, in Lagos, in Abuja. These two cities that are our pride. There's no running water, potable running water, and you see this minister, you see most of them driving, Rolls Royce, a civil servant driving Rolls Royce. And you expect insecurity not to happen. You expect Nigeria to live, to poor Nigeria to be happy. No, this insecurity is going to continue unless those people come down from their high horses and take decisions. Because when you see these people living like kings, while the subjects are, they're eating from the dustbin, what do you expect? If poor Nigeria, in fact, let me tell you, finally, this insecurity has not started at all, because time is coming when poor Nigerians will come out in their masses and do something extraordinary, because the suffering is going to continue unless the likes of Wike and the President Tinubu comes down from the high horses and understand that Nigerians are suffering. Nigerians are suffering. Thank you.
Thank you, Mazi. Thank you. Thank you for joining the discourse. He says Nigerians are suffering. Are you suffering? Because I've heard Nigerians are suffering. Let a suffering Nigerian call. Let's hear from a suffering Nigerian. Are you suffering? That last caller said Nigerians are suffering. Let me understand what it means to suffer. I want to understand. I just listened to a caller who said Nigerians are suffering. It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. The program is State Affairs. A caller just said Nigerians are suffering. What does it mean to suffer? Nigerians are suffering. What does that word mean? Hello?
Good morning, everyone. This is easy.
Yes, good morning.
Yes, I listened to the statement June 8 made by you. First of all, asked whether I should take note of the name. So it's very obvious that they're all northern extract and Fulani. I want to. Your class is all about history, power, and politics. So let me start from history. I remember a time when former head of state, former President Goodluck Jonathan, his passion to end security, his passion to end poverty, even though they called him a weak man, so to speak, but he had good intentions. And he started to set up Almajiri schools for these kids because he understood then that these are, you just mentioned in your statement, you said we should be careful here as well. These children who roam about the street, that was what Jonathan was looking ahead. And these same people squashed, destroyed that plan. He invested millions so that students could go to school and have a sense of belonging and be able to think on their own and build up a better northern Nigeria. But these same people destroyed it. And they are coming up to the statement in June 8th. June 8th, you see what you destroyed. I'm not really a fan of Bola Tinubu. But I need to call a spade a spade. You can't come out in the open and criticize so a major part of. You never criticized your own governors for the height of insurgency in the north, which has found its way in the south. It's very clear and logical.
Thank you.
They don't have any moral ground. Sorry, they have any moral ground to criticize. Let them go back to the drawing board and make their home well settled. Criticize the government and set up elementary school because they have the money. And they should stop this criticism. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, they also make a point in their statement that there are no checks on the powers of the executive who now govern as they please without accountability or respect for the people's concerns. At the same time, they say insecurity is rising, that elections are being manipulated, and that public distrust has hit the highest level in Nigeria's history. The statement warns that this combination is explosive. Look at how they wrote it. This erosion of institutional independence has feared public distrust to its highest level in our history, creating a crisis of political exclusion and impunity that is pushing violent extremism, organized crime, and communal conflict to a tipping point. Now let's pull back a bit and ask why this matters beyond Nigeria's borders or beyond this political moment. There is the idea of the social contract that makes it clear that the people agree to be governed in exchange for security and order. You give up some freedom so that the states protect you from your neighbor and from the stranger with a weapon. But here is the catch. If the state stops protecting you, or worse, if the state starts threatening you, the social contract is broken. So the statement signed by Jega and Co. describes a government that has abandoned its end of the bargain. They say institutions have been compromised, weakened, and subordinated to the interest of the executive arm of government. When that happens, you know what happens? When institutions are compromised, when institutions are weakened, you know what happens? Citizens start looking elsewhere. Citizens begin to tell themselves, okay, the political class have taken power, they've taken money. I cannot be a stranger here. Some of them will say, no, we need to fight back. Some will protest. Some don't have patience for protest because they feel protests don't work. They would rather go and join militia groups. Some will say, okay, I don't want to do something illegal. Let me join vigilantes. I will use the vigilante platform to get what I want. Some will even say, let me even join the police. At least I can be standing at junction, I'll be collecting money. I'm not a fool in this country. I must also get my share. Some will say, okay, let me even join the army and be supplying arms to the bandits. Some will say, it is the Fulani, we must fight them. And they will go and create their own ethnic militia group. The character of the political class has not changed. It is getting worse. And you know what that means? Insecurity will get worse. It is the law of nature. Garbage in, garbage out. Let Tinubu go and buy all the weapons from America. The people he will give the weapon will become the source of insecurity. Garbage in, garbage out. It is what you type on your screen that will show. It's what you have your phone now. It's what you type. That is what you type. That is what will show on your screen. It is what you feed the system that you will get. AI. You have to prompt the AI. So, every insecurity has a source. And the source, in the case of the Nigerian state, is the politics, the character of the political class. If you steal billions meant for healthcare, you have created insecurity by implication. So don't deceive yourself. You should know this rule. Even you listening to me, if you are a teacher in your state schools, if you are a member of the civil service in Lagos and you are stealing money, you are creating insecurity. Therefore, we are all in this wahala together. You created it. Any money you steal from state coffers is blood money. And because you have created blood, blood will flow. It seems to say, why is it Africa? Why is it about Africa? Can't you see that most African countries are violent countries? You steal, the repercussion, you will pay for it. You will pay through banditry, corruption. So you listening to me now, I'm not just talking about Tinubu, you that is in the civil service of your state, Osun, you that is a professor in the university, all the money you have stolen has produced the bandits. You are part of the problem. What we sow, we will reap. If we sow goodness, our country will be good. All of you, including the journalist, the banditry that is going on today is not the Fulani problem. It is the collective of our sins. It simply means that the northern elite have sinned more than the southern elite. That is why it is more in the north. Until we change our character, we are all in. You see, this bandit, it gets to a point now. Edmond Obile will say, how can some uneducated people be stopping me from traveling on the road? For what now? And I want to fight back. Perhaps I'll go and look for my own gun. That is the state of chaos. Because the nature of man is to defend himself. It gets to a point we can't travel anymore. We'll go and look for, first, we'll say, okay, I'll go to the commissioner of police. I need a license I'm even thinking about it already. I need a license for a gun. I need a gun. I'm tired of looking over my fence. I want to shoot. So I get my gun. So before you know it, we begin to shoot indiscriminately. When a fly flies, we shoot. This is a call for redemption to all of us, that we must redeem ourselves. Hello, good morning. Hello. Are you there? You have called the radio man and you are not saying anything.
Hello, good morning. Sorry.
Good morning.
Hello. Good morning. I'm so sorry. I'm carried away. Mr. Edmond, the last statement you made, I want to call in when you begin to talk about the leadership, the politician. But I'm so glad you make it a point that we all contributed to what we are today. Let me ask Nigeria. Are those politicians come from heaven or from South Africa or Ghana? No, they are part of us. As you said, the garbage in and garbage out. The attribute or the character of the old Nigerians. Even when we Nigeria go to other country, don't they do crime as well? Many have spoiled the name of the country because of the instincts and all to make it by all means. Until we as a citizen, as individual, train our mind and decide to do the right thing, that is when the politician also will change. Now, the insecurity, when you say the banditry is not Fulani, I totally disagree with you on that. We as human, and then those people we are talking about, the vow we hear, the endurance level of the southern people is more than the Fulani. The Hausa are the most that can endure most things, but they are mixed with the Fulani. That's why some will say Hausa Fulani. But let us leave Hausa out of it. These people look quiet, look like they can't do anything. But when it comes to crimes, cases.
Your line keep breaking. Your line keep breaking.
Okay.
You are
Can
not,
you hear now?
you are not flowing because your line is breaking.
What of now?
Yes, I can hear you. It comes in and okay, just round off your point.
Yeah. So if we don't call a spade, we keep on having the problem. Look at those talking now saying the present government is doing this, is doing that, is doing that. When the insecurity, there are people who are the one causing the insecurity. How many times have they written to their governor and their people to persuade them to behave? They will not. But because what I see now, this Fulani are being shut out of government. That's why that kind of letter noise is coming up from them. And I think we Nigeria should not fall for their trick. Thank you.
Thank you. Now let me also ask you, the audience, if you check statistics over time, I don't know if you've read Awolowo. If you read The Travails of Democracy, I advise that you read that book, The Travails of Democracy. Awolowo saw what is unfolding today. You see, the Emirate system is a feudal system. And most countries that practice feudalism always ended up in violence. Because what feudalism does is that it keeps a large majority dependent on few elites. And that is what the Emirate system instilled in the North over time. And that is why Awolowo told the Saudana that feudalism must be tackled. That was his fight. That was why they sent him to prison. Because he knew the consequences of feudalism, where one elite would be controlling a whole local government and be feeding them, refusing to teach the majority how to feed themselves. And how do you do that? You will not educate them. Because if you educate them, you have empowered them. Now, that population that you refuse to educate are reacting. The Northwest is the most impoverished region in Nigeria. Go and check the data over time since independence. And that is why it had become the hotbed of poverty, the hotbed of violence. And because the Fulani lives there, and because the Fulani is feudalistic, you can see what is happening. Yes, you can give it that coloration, Fulani. But if you bring that same feudalistic system to Igbo land, and you leave it to run over time, the same thing will happen in Igbo land. So the point I'm making is that it is the system. So because the Fulani Hausas are in that system, they are the ones reacting. You can see they are also killing Fulani elites. I hope you know. The bandits are also killing Fulani elites. They are also killing Muslims. So we have to look at it dispassionately. Let me bring this interview in. Let me bring in Savio Gbadamosi. You know, this interview is a reflection of the character of the black man. Remember, there are Fulanis in Guinea. I hope you know there are Fulanis in Guinea. That the dominant tribe in Guinea is Fulani. That Sokotore, one of the greatest African statesmen, was a Fulani. And he was the first leader of Guinea. But the Sokotore mindset is different from what we are seeing today. Qatar, don't forget that Qatar, when I went to Qatar, I didn't go for tourism. I wanted to see how they behave. I took my time. I was looking at the cars they were driving. I would go to motor parks. I would sit down. I would be taking a look at the brands of cars and those who were driving the cars. I went to their hotels. I was looking at those who were the laborers. Most of those in the hotels did not come from Qatar. There were many people from Africa, Philippines, India. The oil money of Qatar has gone round to Qatarians. That's what I will call them. The Qatar government has taken care of the people of Qatar. The citizens have their own share of the oil. And they are Muslims. They are core Muslims. But they are not carrying guns. They have been empowered economically. I took time. I was going to their schools. No, you can't build those kind of fine schools and have bandits. No way. If you want to know countries where you have bandits, go and be visiting primary schools. You will know. Even go to Oyo State, go to villages. You will see the state of some primary schools. You will know that bandits will come here. In Dubai, you can't find such primary schools. So it's not about whether you are a Muslim. It's about economic empowerment. It's not even about whether it's a democracy, really. It's about how people get their share. When one politician comes and steals 10 billion, do you know what he has done? He has denied a large majority their own share of the economy. Over time, if those ones don't react today, because some politicians are stealing billions today, some fathers are not reacting, but their children will react tomorrow. Listen to this interview with Savio Gbadamosi. He just released a collection of poems The book is entitled Entropy. And Entropy is a poetic collection I will advise you to read. You can get a copy on udarabooks.com. Servio Badamosi is a poet. In this interview, we'll look at the character of the African. As children, we the beautiful broken things, warriors thrown overboard to calm the sea. Our shackles glistening like river water in the midday sun. We are the seeds of the motherland, scattered across the Atlantic, 500 years searching for soil. 500 years searching for soil. Searching for soil. What soil? I thought we live on land, and land is soil.
Mm-hmm. So it's about finding what we lost, which is our essence. For example, this is an allusion to the transatlantic slave trade here, and we all know what happened through those years. The best of us, physically fit, mentally fit. The slave raiders and traders were not looking for the weakest. We're not looking for people of average stature and might. They harvested, of course, with our own participation too, to some extent, right? They harvested the very best of us and took them.
Is best about strength?
Not just about strength, but you should know that in the kind of societies that we had then, strength was not only physical, strength was also mental, manifested in the physical. So, they took these people away. And that is when we only talk about the transatlantic slave trade. You had slave trade that existed long before that between us and Western Asia, the Middle East, the nations of the Arab world. We had slave trade long before the West came. They were coming here, taking our people captive. We only talk most times about the transatlantic slave trade. We forget that for hundreds of years before the transatlantic slave trade, the Arabs were coming here and buying. But their modus of operandi was different. They didn't even let vast populations thrive like the West did. And at best, in some nations in the Arab world, what you have are small communities, small black communities, which do not anyway reflect the number or the size of the population that was taken away from here. And that slavery even continued between Africa and the Arab world, even after an end was put to the transatlantic slave trade.
Why Africa?
I am looking for answers too.
Why Africa?
I am looking for answers too. I think that maybe one of the reasons would be that we were not so keen on dominating, on taking over the world and people of other communities and nations as humans from some other part of the world. We didn't have maybe that rallying philosophy that wanted us to be superior to one another, to our neighbors, for example. We had a somewhat egalitarian culture where I don't want to lord it over you. I don't want to be your lord. I don't want to reign over you. We understand authority. We understand the hierarchy of societies, right? But we don't necessarily want to dominate.
But there were wars of conquest among Africans.
Yes, there were. Because after a while, you begin to find that resources, most of these were resource-based wars. Somebody had access to a body of water. Somebody had access to more farmland. Somebody had access to a particular farm produce that was growing in a particular region. Economies were evolving. Agriculture was being shaped and reshaped through the years. So you had resources, you had societies that were growing, different ideologies, and contact with other nations too. You find, you started trading, for example, with Malians who had been interacting with traders from across the Arab world, with Egyptians, with North Africans, with Sudan, with the Sudanese, and all of that. Culture is not static. It's a living experience. So then I meet you. I interact with you over a period of time. There's a part of you that is going to rub off on me, and a part of me would also most likely rub off on you. I share in your experience, you share in my experience, and we are just two. Now imagine that there are 100 of us from 100 different societies and cultures. When we come together, when we dip our hands in this communal pot, we are going to end up picking up different bits and pieces. Now, some of those things would inform changes in us as persons. But then, as an individual, I belong to a household. My household belongs to a community. And that community also interacts with other communities.
But we were also slave raiders. We raided ourselves, sold ourselves.
Correct.
And if you look at the modern Africa, that concept still exists.
Yes.
You have leaders who rob their states, take the money out of the country, keep it in foreign accounts. Is it different from slavery?
No. It has just changed names or changed clothes.
Why Africa?
I am seeking answers too, like I said.
Poet, help me.
I am seeking answers too. Because I think that because now I look at some of these countries across other countries in different parts of the world that got independence around the same time as our own country, for example. And some of these countries have been transformed. Some of them are now part of the first world countries, developed countries. And I keep on searching for answers as to where we got it wrong. What did we miss? What could we have done differently? And I always oftentimes go back to that realization that our nations, a lot of them, the way they were carved out, the way they were designed, were engineered to fail. Now, where I am most pained is the fact that there were people who were at the helm of affairs, who had the opportunity to cause a change, to create, to study the system that was handed over to them. Because they knew the system that they were coming from. They fought against it. They fought for the advancement, for the creation of a new system. Now, the people who created the old system made sure that the new system was going to be filled with disparate beings. There was going to be a lot of chaos and disorderliness in it.
Entropy.
What pains me the most is that through time, we have not sat down.
Entropy is increasing.
Yes, it is. Sat down to say, we have moved from a state of order. We have been unraveled. We are in a state of decay. How do we get out of this wrath? We have come to celebrate the wrath. We have seen it as second nature now. And that is what pains me the most. Not the fact that it was done to us, but the fact that we have continued to do it to ourselves.
And yet the poet says we are God's children. How?
Well, I am a believer in God. I am a believer in the good that humans are capable of. And for every bitter human experience that you can have, it is still people that would help you overcome that bitter experience.
And God is in people?
Yes. That's how that is how best to experience God. I've never seen him before. The way he was taught to us, the way I have come to believe him. However, I have experienced him through the actions or inactions of people.
So God is goodness?
Yes.
Love?
Yes.
Patience?
Yes.
Corruption?
Mm-hmm.
God is corruption.
Mm-hmm.
Because God is in people.
Mm-hmm.
How?
So, they say that we would probably never know that some good existed were it not for the presence of evil. There's a way in which you would never know, because there has to be something too, but it's a balancing act. The positive, the negative. The positive, the negative. Both of them, when properly channeled, can bring you good results that can help move you forward as a person and as a society. Forces of good and evil are always at play in human affairs. Here we go!
State Affairs with Edmond Obilo is live. Stay tuned.
Yes, that is a conversation with Savio Badamosi, author of the new book, Entropy. Entropy is a collection of poems. I recommend Entropy to you. The poems are reachable. The poems are philosophical. In Entropy, you will understand the mind of man. Savio Badamosi is a deep poet. If you want to listen to the full edition of that interview with Savio, visit my YouTube account. Search for Edmondo Billo on YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I just released an interview with Tunde Kelani, part 1 of my interview with Tunde Kelani. Visit my YouTube channel. In this interview you heard, Savio Badamosi reflected on the transatlantic slave trade. But in the fuller interview, he talks about Yoruba history. The point in that interview is that history is not only preserved in archives and textbooks. History also survives in poetry, memory, and the persistent questioning of those who refuse to accept easy answers. In my dialogue with the poet Savio Badamosi, whose collection Entropy has drawn attention for its philosophical depth, we turn our lens towards Yoruba history, and the poet urged a more rigorous an honest engagement with the past. We just accept, oh, we are from Oduduwa. Oh, Igbos are from Israel. How? We need to interrogate our history. That is why we are not able to interrogate our present. We just accept any story. Oduduwa came from heaven. How? How? Where is the old Oyo? Where are the relics? Where are the museums? We cannot even interrogate our history. You can see how lame we have become as a people. We are consumed by daily struggle for food, materialism. That is why we cannot build great societies. We don't have museums. We don't have libraries. We don't have football fields for our children to play. We are building up everywhere with concrete. We don't have trees. Our houses are hot. We build houses with narrow windows, and then we put sliding windows that you can only open one side. What is wrong with us? We don't think. We can't solve our problems. Our universities are crashing. Our public schools are gone. We are partying. We have turned barriers to parties. The money we spend on parties, if we invest them in education, we have enslaved ourselves. We've always enslaved ourselves. Look at the transatlantic slave trade. Whenever I read about the transatlantic slave trade, I blame nobody but Africans. Why Africa? We sold ourselves, and we are still selling ourselves. Hey, please. It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. The program is State Affairs. Stay tuned. Stay cool. Hello, good morning. Hello, can you hear me? Okay, it's my phone.
Program.
Hello, can you hear me?
I am a fan of yours, and I try not to miss any of your daily program because you touch with facts and you pass the message across as it should be passed for everyone to get the message on state affairs. Good morning again.
Thank
and
you.
Good afternoon. My name is Christopher, and I'm calling from Turkey. I'm a Nigerian. You ask why Nigeria? And the broadcast for this morning, the title, Nigeria stands at a dangerous crossroad. Let me give my own perspective, or let me give my view. I might be wrong, but I hope I pass the message as it should be. Nigeria as it stands today, we have fallen apart. And you can agree with me that since we are on a dangerous crossroad, it is in our hands to pull ourselves back on the right track. We complain about everything in Nigeria because everything has fallen apart. The education system, the infrastructure, no one to mention. I mean, our leaders have failed us in totality. Now, if you ask me, what do we do in this situation we find ourselves? My solution or my suggestion is getting the right leaders. Because even as much as I want to blame we, the citizens, the problem still lies on the leaders, getting the right leaders. Because even as much, Mr. Edmond, no matter how good the citizens are today, if you are ruled by leaders who have no compassion, who are not sincere, who are corrupt, we cannot get it right. So the solution starts from the top. There are many citizens of Nigeria today who are good in what they do, who are honest, but the system, they cannot thrive in that system. And who is in position to fix the system? It still falls in the hands of the leaders. That is why I say the solution starts from getting the right leaders. The leaders we have today have jeopardized us, they play with us, manipulate us, because they don't care. No honest leader in Nigeria today. All they do is touch money, take abroad, loot money, and you hear of snakes swallowing millions of naira. You hear of the insecurity. They all fall on the hands of the leaders. That is why I say the solution starts from the top, getting the right leader. So permit me to put this here before I leave, not to take much time. Now we have an election coming up. If you ask me, we have people presenting themselves to come and lead 200 and something million people in Nigeria. How many of them are able or will be able to come out for a debate to tell the people this is what we want to do? How many of them can stand the test of integrity? How many of them are honest? How many of them are truthful to themselves to be even able to come out and say we need a free and fair election? What nation are we building for the future of our children? Sometimes I weep because we have kids who we can't even tell what their future will be like. Mr. Edmond, I will stop here, but before I go, thank you for bringing awareness, using your platform, educating the people, telling the people what they need to know, what they need to do, because the leaders we have failed them and their time has passed. It falls on the hand of the youth of today in Nigeria. Please don't give up, because sometimes I know it's tiring to keep talking and no change, but please don't give up. I appreciate you and I applaud you. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
State Affair, I will continue to watch you and reshare your program. Thank you, Mr. Edmond.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And one of the ways to help this program is to share the program. That is all I ask for. Repost the program. If the program is really affecting you, except the program does not benefit you, if the program benefits you, if State Affairs benefits you, and you are listening on X, you also have the option not to share. But you can also share. You can repost. If you're on Facebook, you can repost. Because the idea of this program is redemption. That means we need to spread the message. I also know that the message of redemption is not always popular. If I come here now, I'm talking about entertainment, I'll be more popular. Because the mind is always attuned to easy talks. Generally, the mind is attuned to easy talks. the road widely traveled. The mind is never attuned to the narrow way, the road less traveled. But for those who are attuned to the road less traveled, who are attuned to redemption, listening is not enough. You must also be a messenger of the show. You must also be a messenger of the show. If you believe in redemption, like the Christians will say, you have to spread the gospel. And why social media? You have the opportunity to share. I can see a number of persons listening on X. I can see the figure here. But I can see only 5 reposts. I also know some persons who want to be private. It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. Yes, I was talking about the mind being more receptive to loud talk, easy talk. State affairs is a political class meant for redemption. To say we have taken this path for long, we can begin to rethink our paths and move this corner. So the message is to help society attain redemption. And to attain redemption with message is never easy. It takes longer time. That is why men who want to attain redemption, who are very angry, easily take up to arm. They easily take up arm. Because arm is the easiest path to redemption. Let's shoot our ways to change. I've seen that happen. Some others will say, let's fight our way through redemption. But for a radio show, someone like me, I feel that Africa has gone through a lot. That the best alternative is to change mindsets through messaging. And it is the long road. It is the long road. Because a weakened people, a poverty-stricken people, will be easily attracted to easy talk. They will be attracted to money talk, attracted to entertainment, comedy, because it is the broad way. And that is why you even see a lot of persons now who have become popular on social media, we take that way because their own idea is to attain popularity. But state affairs is to attain redemption. I am taking the narrow way. Now, I can see if you bring in a comedy now, people just reshare. They want to reshare. They are sharing. They are even sharing to me. That is why you see, if I have blocked you on this WhatsApp, I have blocked you because you are sending me messages that I don't want. A lot of listeners are complaining that they can't reach me. I blocked you. Once you send me 1 or 2 or 3 messages, I block you because your messages is not in line with the messages I am selling. So I don't even want to listen to it. So I block you immediately. And like every day I block up to 20 persons on this WhatsApp. because they are sending me messages I don't want. So you are clogging my space. I'm very careful about my space. I protect it. Now, if this program affects you and you are a regular listener of the program, the best you can do to contribute to the show is to spread the message. And one of the ways to spread the message is to share. I can see persons listening on X. Spread the message. That means if we are on the same part, except we are not on the same part, or perhaps you want to keep your privacy, you have a right to that. But we must learn to also distribute messages that call for change. And that's why sometimes when I look at the Femi Falanos, I pity them. You know, when they contest election, they can't win. Because there's something that happens to the mind. I have looked at it. There have been many freedom fighters who have put themselves up for election positions. They don't win. And I know why. Sometimes I'll be laughing in my private moment. I'll be laughing. You know, Nigerians always want messiahs, those who will save them. But you ask them and say, no, he can't win. He can't win. But they want you to fight for them. But they say, no, he can't win. The only people they feel they can win are the same people who they claimed are their oppressors. So when you see that kind of mindset, you go back and say, man, there's a lot of education. Somebody is complaining to me now that is going through poverty. And this person is educated. And I'm saying, okay, what do you think about this guy if he contests election? Yeah, he can't win. I said, okay, what does it take to win election? It's not for you to vote the person. But you can see that kind of mindset. That is why you see the very poor worship their oppressors. We have a long way to go. The very poor. And do you ask why? I have found an answer. And I'm looking for the resources to do something. I want to do something. Because at some point I say I cannot continue to talk. At some point I will bow out of this talking. Because I want a society that works for us. Because whenever I see my children, I'm beginning to think I'm failing them. I'm beginning to think I'm failing them. I'm beginning to say, what society am I going to leave behind? A society where bandits have occupied all the forest? That even me, when I want to travel, recently I was thinking of having security to follow me to travel. I love driving. I want to drive on the highway. One of my beauty moments are when I'm driving on the highway with nobody in the car. I like driving alone. Then playing my music. That's one of the best ways I catch fun. When I'm driving, I like being on the highway. I like good roads. But I want to travel. I'll be thinking. My mother was ill. I wanted to see her. I was considering that I'll be 5 hours on this road driving. I was okay to fly now. I have to go to Lagos. I'll go to Lagos. They will delay the plane. They've delayed my flight many times that I will cancel. I just leave the airport. I'm not even ready to fight the airline. I know the challenges they're also going through. I cannot go see my mother. I was okay, I want to travel. I was okay now, about 3 guys need to follow me. That is the society I want to leave for my children. And the political leadership is not thinking the way I'm thinking. You see here the way they talk, outlandish lifestyles, in a poverty-stricken economy. You know? So if you're a follower of this show, the best you can do for this show is to promote it. If you're on X, you can repost. If you're on YouTube, you can share. If you're on Facebook, you can share. That is one way to contribute. We are using the message. But I'm telling you now that at some point I will stop talking. I want to act in another way. Because the society, the next election will not produce anything good. It is garbage in, garbage out. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, is that Obilo program?
It is Splash 105.5 FM. Make your point.
Thanks so much, Professor Obilo. You're my professor because I always listen to you. I always attend your class every Saturday. Thanks so much for the great job you are doing. I just want to contribute to what.
Are you using hands free? Are you using hands free? You are not sharp.
Oh, sorry. I'm using a headset.
Don't use headset. Remove your headset so that you will be very sharp.
Okay. Thank you. Are you hearing me now?
You are now clear.
Yeah. My name is Badibo Mustafa, calling from Badon. Yeah. The problem of this country is that we don't even know what is the problem, the root cause of the problem of this country. Since 1999 that we started this democracy of thing, there's no any time that we've not been complaining about our leaders, about our president, from Obasanjo up to this moment. We've been complaining, even during the Obasanjo period. Obasanjo said, I'm sorry to say this, Obasanjo said, even if you bring Jesus Christ to come and rule this country, you will still blame. So what is the main problem of this country? So until we get to the root of the problem, this country, until then, the country will still be continuing complaining until the world ends. So let's find the root cause of the problem of this country. So as to tackle it once and for all, and then we move ahead. So until then, I think we will be complaining. So God bless you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. At least we are allowed to complain. You can complain. But as you complain, also think of the way you want to act. Act. Be planning. The country is going down the drain. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
We must complain. Sanyolu Adeyemo is my name.
Hello, good morning.
Sanyolu Adeyemo is my name.
I can hear you. Make your point.
We need to complain if the corruption is still exists. We must complain. If our leader that have been ruling us still seem repeating the same thing before the independent, after independent, if our leaders that are ruling us base their life in luxury life, they don't correct the mistake, the lacuna, we complain. A country that don't complain, even we complain if there is heavy rain, if there is too much what do they call it, things from heaven. We complain. That is for human being. But the most important thing in this life, look at the analysis we make about Qatar. Look at the analysis you make about some Arab countries. Is it happen in Nigeria? When subsidy is being removed in Nigeria, did our leader tell us where the money, how did they spend the money? Is it not the subsidy they removed? They used the money to buy exotic cars to the federal representatives, to the senators. the masses of this nation enjoy the subsidy removing? Look at the price of the gas. Now, we will complain when they want to increase the price of the gases. Did they call? Did they inform Nigeria? Did Nigeria know the purpose? Let me tell you, Edmond, look at what has happened. Namibia president, she's a female. She reduced the price of the of PMS. Understand? He reduced the price of the fuel in our country. And they are saying that it is state of Hormuz that is affecting Nigeria. They don't get the weapon because of before the war between Iran and America. Why? When will our leader come out and tell us the truth? You heard about the allegation. I call it alleging of what El-Rufai said about Nigerian President Tinubu, that he's removing 100 billion every month to his own purse, and the masses cannot feel that they are alive. A country that have oil must enjoy, the citizen must enjoy. Is Nigeria enjoy? It is not about religion again. It is about the bad leadership, the corruption that is exists. Edmond, this is Sanyolu Adeyemo. We will complain because our leaders are full of corruption. Look at 210 trillion that is happened in NMPC now. Look at what is happened on the stand in the National Assembly in between Akpabio and the Senate. Nigeria will complain. Should we sit down and say that it's my man, he's from Yoruba? No, this is not about Yoruba. This is about Nigeria. People are suffering, people are dying. A country that a bandit can kill a general and brought his cause to his family. Nigeria will complain.
Thank you.
Citizen, the push of Orire local government. Nigeria will complain. We need to move and stop these people. It is my family. You want to contest in the representative. I must support, and I know that it's a drug dealer. I know that it's a foreigner. I know that is into criminality, and I'm supporting him. We must complain. We need to sit down together and find a solution. God bless you, Edmond. I like you. I like what you said this morning. Qatar's moving. Where are we moving to?
Thank you. All right, you have the line. Complain. The line is open. You know, Seyi Makinde made a statement at some point reminding us of Operation Wetier. Seyi Makinde reminded us of Operation Wetier. And recently, the chairman of EFCC reminded us of how much you will spend to become a governor, running into billions of naira to become a governor. And from my experience covering politics over time, I have an idea of the amount that goes into election. And they are mostly stolen money. They are mostly stolen money. That is not to say that you don't spend money in elections. You need money for logistics. You need money. Anything you do, you need money. But we have so bastardized our system that even now, if you send your child on an errand, he will ask you, how much will you pay? You employ somebody today, they are stealing from you. Your workers are stealing from you. The system has been so bastardized. We need moral renewal. And our elections have been so bastardized that there are times I don't feel like telling anybody, they say, go and get your PVC. I don't say those things anymore. Because the election has been so bastardized. The processes have been so bastardized. Even INEC has been bastardized. The military has been bastardized. The police has been bastardized. We need moral reawakening. And how do we achieve that? Somehow we are going to achieve it. We will. It's a long road, and the road is no longer too far because we have been on the road. Because if we don't achieve it, we will go to war. We are already at war, just that we are not fighting yet. It's only some people that are already fighting us. We have not picked up arms to fight back. That is why it has not escalated. Because we are still human. We've not lost our humanity. Some persons have been so dehumanized over time, so they've lost their humanity, so they can kill with ease. We still have our humanity. But as it gets to us, okay, tomorrow if your mother is kidnapped, then it has gotten to you. Somebody, they kill your sister, it will get to you. At that point, we'll begin to lose our humanity. I don't want us to get to that point. Because once we lose our humanity, we become animals. I was reading about what happened in Sierra Leone. I think I'll bring that story to you. Sierra Leone and Liberia, how they gradually lost their humanity. It started with this ethnic thing. You know, one ethnic group killing the other, oppressing the other. Gradually, the other ones began to also lose their humanity. And they began to fight back. They began to fight back. And they plunged into a civil war. It is happening in Congo as we speak. And it has to do with the elite. So when Sheyi Makinde brought the issue of Operation Wet here recently, he was warning Tinubu and co. So it is important we go back to what happened during Operation Wet here. Because some persons have made up their mind, whether you vote or you don't vote, they will win. And that was the message Sheyi Makinde was sending. That remember Operation Wet here. So I've decided to bring a renowned journalist, a man who has seen it all. He's a Baba, a former editor-in-chief of the Tribune, a former editor-in-chief of the Daily Times, to come and lecture us on what is Operation Wet here. Because it can happen again. And remember, it always starts in the Southwest. It's a trigger. That is why Sheyi Makinde, being the presidential candidate of the APM, should not be taken for granted. If his ambition is wrongly interpreted by those in certain quarters, it can trigger anything. You see, immediately the bandits came into Yoruba land, it became a national affair. And I know more banditry will come. And perhaps it will trigger that change. You know, so at some point I sit down, I said perhaps it's the banditry that will launch us into the new era when everybody will wake up. Because I'm beginning to look at it. What will wake us up? Perhaps it is the banditry that will now say, okay, everybody will now wake up and say, it's enough. It is time to make the change. Because at that point, we are all threatened, existential threat. So let's bring in Chief Tola Adeniyi to talk about Operation Wet here that Sheyi Makinde reminded us of recently. Chief Tola Adeniyi is on State Affairs. Stay tuned.
State Affairs with Edmond Obilo is live. Stay tuned.
Chief Tola Adeniyi, welcome.
Thank you so much, sir.
Here is a country, And it's a country full of history. And you are a product of history.
Yes, sir.
The governor of Oyo State in recent time reminded us of Operation Wetier.
Yes.
You heard him.
I did. And
What?
I've read commentaries about the statement from some critics
What do you think?
in newspapers. I think I think it was an alert, and it came at the right time. And I think it challenges the status quo, challenges the mind of those who are lucky to be alive at that point in time, who witnessed what went here. It brings to the fore the events that led to Wete in 64, 65, 66. And that is why I think, coming at this point in time, that we are about repeating the tragedy of 64, 65, 66, that it is the right time and the right message.
What are the events of 1964-65 that led to Operation Wetier?
64-65, we had a very unpopular government in Western region. We had a government that came by the way of the machinations of the federal government. The federal government was using its might to suppress the popular opinion, the popular tide. And it wanted at that point in time to even use the police and the military to suppress and oppress the citizenry of Western region. Ibadan, as a city, is not known to be subservient. Ibadan, in their history, had never been conquered by anybody. And so when any institution tries to suppress, oppress, impose anything on Ibadan political centrality, the place will explode, and that was what happened. So the NNDP, Nigerians Democratic, something like that, it was a party formed by Akintola in association or in conjunction with the NCNC after they broke away from Action Group. And they called themselves NNDP, Demo, whatever. The Yoruba called them Demo. And they, even within themselves, imposed unpopular candidates. And they wanted to go ahead. There was no competition. They just wanted to take the whole thing. Every town, every local government, it wanted to be so dominant and kill the either to ruling party, which now turned into opposition. That's the Action Group, which at that time had also joined Okpara's NCNC to form OBGA. And the Yoruba people will not let it go.
By this time, Awolowo was in prison.
Awolowo was in prison, and the Yoruba they felt wounded that Awolowo, from 1960, from 1959 federal elections, had been given a very rough time by the dominant party, by the federal government.
Led by Tafawa
Balewa. But Tafawa Balewa was just a puppet, led by Ahmadu Bello, who was the chairman of the party.
Then the premier of the northern region.
So it was putting an insult on injury, and the Yoruba felt no. And what they then did, and then they showed the elections. The electoral process was so flawed, and they even boasted that whether you vote for us or you don't vote for us, we continue to rule. The electoral umpire was also the federal government. The electoral umpire, the judiciary, the military, the police, they were all in the hands of the federal government.
So how is that similar to this moment?
Well, I mean, it's obvious. I mean, now we really don't have a National Assembly. I mean, everybody knows that. We have a National Assembly that is just a rubber stamp. In fact, worse than a rubber stamp. And you have a judiciary that you can really not say much about. And then the police. I mean, look at what happened in Djibouti the other time. I was going to write on what I call the brutalization of electoral process, that the abuse of the police force, the abuse of the powers of the coercive agents of government. And then the citizenry had been so impoverished that nobody really has a voice anymore. People are just tired, and people are confused, and people are very, very angry, very, very angry. Even though they may not say it because they don't have anywhere now to vent their anger. The press had been so infiltrated by several hired writers who will just regurgitate whatever the government wants them to say. So in essence, once the press is muffled, judiciary is purchased, the armed forces are under the control, and then we don't have a National Assembly that you can talk about, you can really speak about. So it goes to show that we have absolutism, totalitarianism, and using force then makes it tyrannical. So we are having is exactly what happened in 64-65.
So you have seen a deliberate plot by the federal government to undermine the opposition parties?
Well, federal government keeps rejecting that idea, keeps saying it has no hand in the confusions going on in all the other parties. But we know that, people know that what they are saying is not true. And in any event, talking personally, I don't believe we have political parties in Nigeria. I've always said so. All we have is just a collection of businessmen, market men, market women, traders. So just some market men here, some market women there, some traders there, changing wares, changing offices, changing titles, changing business names, changing business labels. What else you have? But now you have a big shop, a supermarket that has captured the entire, that has become monopolistic. And that is what is happening. So we now have small shops, small traders, small businessmen wanting to free themselves from the stranglehold of this monopolistic organization.
And what would that struggle lead to?
What would it lead to is probably will lead to two things. Could lead to an implosion of the monopolistic organization. Because when you have a monopoly, which is not oligopolistic, if it's a real serious monopoly, there will be so many elements in that organization that will rebel against the leadership, especially in a political and or electoral situation where you now say in this superstore only one person should man the electoral place, somebody should man the engineering section of the shop, and that you don't allow others who are also eyeing the leadership of such segments within the shops. Then they will rebel, and that will cause the implosion. Because if you have a manager of electronics department in your monopoly, and he has subordinates under him who also are aspiring to be head of that department someday, and now there is a process where you say people should now vie for leadership of several segments within the organization, and you now say nobody should vie. Those who have been running that organization, that section should continue. Of course, those underneath them will rebel.
Can we put this in plain terms? Let's look at the APC and the Senate.
Yes.
The information coming is that Tinubu is saying senators should return, and there are governors in states who also have their own idea.
Yes.
What would that produce in the APC?
serious implosion. It's going to cause serious katakata from May, from end of May, middle of May. Because there are so many people who are even outside the Senate who are angling to become senators. And now you say they have to go back. And those who are there also have to go back to their governors to receive blessing. And we do know that most senators, if not all of them, are not in agreement with their governors. And then we also have governors who are also eyeing the senatorial seats. So how would that play out? So you have governors fighting some ministers, some senators from their states. You also see people in the APC leadership who are aspiring to become senators, who also be fighting the governor and will be fighting those who are already in the Senate chamber. So it's going to be serious infighting.
Let's look at the people perspective.
Okay.
The political class are on one side in their own struggles.
Yes.
And you have masses of poor Nigerians
Yes.
in their own struggle to eke out a living.
That's right.
And they are watching.
That's right.
What is happening to them?
Well, I think they are watching, that's the word. And they are also enjoying what we call the silence of the graveyard. You see, when oppressors are dancing naked, they assume that nobody is watching them, that nobody is taking note of their nakedness. Because people watching them from their windows, from other areas, will not talk. They keep silent. And they take that to mean applause or acceptance. That people are not talking is worse than when they talk. And that is the danger that we see ahead. The poor people we are referring to, they appear to be quiet, but they are not quiet. There are many things going on underneath. And because they've been forced or coerced to keep quiet, the media, to a large extent, are being silenced. Then they operate underground. And whether people want to believe it or not, that is going on. And that is exactly what happened in 64-65, when those in leadership positions were boasting, we are going to do this, we are going to do that. They didn't know that there are some grade 2 teachers in Agowe who had a camp and planning the reactions that led to Wete.
Does Wete remind us of Ondo in 1983?
That's right, because that is a replay of what happened in 64-65. See, the thing is that in Ondo in 83, they also wrote to the result, put Omobori who was their governor. And they didn't expect that kind of reaction. It was immediate. Not organized by anybody. It was spontaneous. And you have even the man, one of the very closest friends of Awolowo, was dragged from his and burnt alive. The man who published Awolowo's 3 books, Book of Reason, Book of this and that. So they didn't know that they are thinking of their guns and machines. They didn't know that in Yoruba land, there are more potent weapons than the gun and the swords and other things. The Yoruba had more fatal weaponry than what the Yimbo people had produced.
Weaponry like?
We have betu-betu, we have incantations, we have invocations, we have evocations, we have all sorts. We have something that will tell somebody to go blind and the person will be blind immediately. We have something that will tell somebody not to talk and the person will be silenced forever. We have something that will tell somebody to be deaf and the person will be deaf on the spot.
Where those applied, Operation Wete and
That's
in
right.
Ondo?
Yes, in Ondo, yes, it was applied, of course. It was applied. In Agowe in 65, I remember a minister brought soldiers to the town on the military police. Their uniforms were what's the word? Is it not gum? They use another word, to their bodies. They couldn't remove them, and the uniforms caught fire.
I have seen a lot being written about what she did, why she had to invoke Operation Wet Year.
Yes.
What really happened in that Operation Wet Year? How was it executed?
The thing about Operation Wet Year is that they did not. It was a very unusual strategy, something that had never happened before in Nigeria. The Yoruba thinkers did not attack government. They didn't attack government institutions. They didn't burn down radio stations. What they did was to target those who they believed were the agents of their oppressors. They were attacking individuals who were sympathetic to their oppressors by lighting them up and setting fire on them, or by throwing them into the wells.
Is that how the wet year?
Yes, wet means wet. By wetting something, like when you wet, you use water to, like you wetting your flour during summer.
So they were using gasoline to wet?
Yes, they wet human beings. They spread gasoline on them and then set them on fire. That's wet year.
That's where the wet year.
Yes.
So
they are not wetting buildings. They are wetting individuals. But after killing them, they can then set the building on fire. But it's also the building of the individuals.
And this happened in Yoruba land?
The whole Yoruba land.
The whole Yoruba land?
Yes, simultaneously.
It was the war against Akintola's people?
Yes. So you had people like Ogberegede, you have people like Oroyeye, who are the champions of these operations. So.
And why is she reminding us about that?
I think I think it's because he's a nationalist, because I think because he loves Nigeria and he doesn't want Nigeria to be set on fire. I think he should be given an applause for reminding us that we should not believe that everything is all right, that people have pent-up anger. It's reminding us that this had happened before. It had happened in 64, 65, it happened in 83, and it could as well happen again, and that we should take heed. So I think he was talking as a nationalist, not even as a Yoruba nationalist, but as a national nationalist, that Nigeria was on the brink of collapse, on the precipice, and that we should be careful. The message is to both Nigerians and to leaders. But I think it was not inciting anybody. It was just reminding us of history.
You have read some of the critiques?
All those I've read, from Shui, and I think from Masisi, and all the leading thoughtful opinion molders in Nigeria today, had been in support of Sheyi Makinde's stand. They all see that what Sheyi has done is to alert the people in government that there's danger ahead.
And those in government have not received it well.
Well, if you are in government and your government hires about 2,000 people to be attacking anybody who has contrary opinion, so that's what we're going to have.
State Affairs with Edmond Obilo is live. Stay tuned.
Chief Tola Adeniyi there. I had that interview with him in April this year. You can listen to the full edition of my interview with Chief Tola Adeniyi subscribe to my YouTube channel. I had about 2 hours, 30 minutes interview with him. And I've had various interviews with him that I'm compiling for the future generation to take note of. At least he spoke when many decided to keep quiet. So history will be fair to him. He has written books, and one of the best books to have in your house is Nigeria in the Belly of Vultures by Tola Adeniyi. Nigeria in the Belly of Vultures. Recently, he released his autobiography, Chapters of Destiny. You'll find those books on udarabooks.com. udarabooks.com. It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. After this break, I'll open the line. You tell me what you think about that interview with Chief Tola Adeniyi. Stay tuned.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Government invited you to come and help answer some of the questions you have raised here. And you were appointed technical advisor in the Ministry of Budget and National Planning in 2019.
Exactly.
You resigned after 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Why? So this interview is with Sheun Onigbinde.
I wanted to serve. And I just left a program in Columbia University, the Obama Scholars Program. So I came back, and budget had a principal lead then. I didn't feel like really running budget anymore. So it was a time where I was looking for something new to do. And I know the minister was Prince Clement, but he invited me to say, am I willing? I didn't ask for that job. I was invited to take that job. It was not easy for me to take. I had some challenging things from the family front at in those times. But the minister was a family friend. His children were friends of mine. One of his daughter-in-law was my wife's friend. So I felt like I could take it. It's not and a lot of people didn't even understand the sacrifice that entailed. Because today I can leave this off studio, get a ticket, be on my way to the United States. If I worked under a minister, I do not have those luxuries anymore. So for me, leadership and service was a burden in itself. And I was still willing to trade all of that. I was not even setting all of my reform agenda because I wrote the minister and said, these are the things that I want to change in the budgeting process. And I want us to work through it for 6 months and see where we landed. So I had an agenda going there. And I was quietly working there. Because I didn't even know how to transit from being a critic of government to now be someone who had to look away. Or who had to even, I don't think I was going to defend, but I just even looking away. Because we all know how things don't work properly in government. And it was in that time when people found out I'd been quietly working in government for just a week or a half, and there was no uproar. I expected the system was going to defend me. I expected that people were going to say, "Oh, you might criticize us," but Olusegun at some points, believed that Buhari could do better by Nigeria. He did his work as a citizen, holding government accountable. And that's what was my thinking. If you criticize the government, I'm talking about measured criticism, and you win public office, it's our responsibility to make you succeed. It's not. I don't want Tinubu to fail. I might not like his policies. I might not like his idea. I might not like his personality. But as long as he's the president of Nigeria, I have a duty to make him succeed, because that's what is going to help the entire society. And so when he had the opportunity to say, I can say, it's budget office, it's budget work, I can do it. But when the uproar and the system was not, and there was this mistrust, and people were calling from the villa, they were calling the minister, I'm like, to what end?
Calling from the villa, that what?
That who was I? Why did they give me that job? What was my mission in government? What was I trying to do? A few people who were young people, my age mates, it was just the early days of Buhari's second term. So a few of them felt that they had not been settled, that they were the one that worked for the re-election of the president. They felt that they had not been settled. They had not been even given appointment. And here was I, a critic of the same administration in his first term, now being rewarded. I think that's the problem. Rewarded to do what? How much does this technical advisor to a government? And it was 500,000 naira. Because the minister is 900. I was even less than 500,000 naira. I have a mortgage to pay. I have a family to run. My wife was out of the country. She lived out of the country. So it wasn't even the most convenient financial decision for me. And I did not expect I would get into government and I'll now be hustling contract. I'll be inflating amounts. And it was probably antithetical to my upbringing, to my faith, and to the values I subscribe to. So I felt, but a lot of people feel like, oh, it's your settlement. And I felt like, no, I just wanted to serve this country. And if I can't do it in an atmosphere of trust, there is no point. I dropped my resignation and the minister accepted it and I left.
What did you say in your resignation letter?
I thanked them for the opportunity. There was a bit of pressure to apologize to the president.
That what?
And I didn't understand it. I refused.
Apologize to the president.
Muhammadu Buhari. And I said maybe because we criticized him. There was a tweet I made, and I guess that was the crux of the tweet. That I was angry. And that tweet, I made it on the second day, I think, of 2018. It was a new year. And suddenly was this crisis in Benue that killed almost 200 people. It was the second day of the year. And I was incredible. And the government kept quiet for nearly 48 hours. And I was grossly disturbed. And I think I put out a tweet to say, if you're going to vote for this government, you must be a mediocre to vote for this government, or you must be an ethnic jingoist. Like, you can't say, because after I supported Buhari in his first time, I was very clear-minded. I was not going to be supporting him in his second term. I don't think the same standards that Jonathan was held to, I don't think the society held Buhari to those same standards. Because if Buhari was held to those same standards, he wouldn't have gotten a second term. He wouldn't. And I was clear-minded about this is not, why did we want Jonathan out? It was to make an example that quality leadership, responsive society leadership was important. And citizens have power to change precedent. Now, if Buhari didn't come up to that standards, but why did we not go against him and say, no, you didn't meet those standards, we put another, we could have even been Atiku, and maybe Atiku doesn't do it right, we keep changing until people understand the message that you do not choke with your voters. But at the end of the day, people took that criticism and that anger and say, I didn't support him, I was lambasting his followers, and say, okay, my conscience is clean. I want a country that works for all. It's not worked well for me. I've been a bit fortunate to live a relatively decent life. I want that opportunity for everybody as well.
Did you regret the decision of joining the government?
I don't. I don't. And I guess because if you can't ask me, and I know a few people have asked me to work with government, and I've said no. So that was not even the first time that someone asked me to join government advisory role or something. But that was someone asking me to do something in the budget work, which I felt like prior to those times, for 8 years, I'd made a lot of noise around, let's reform the budget process. I don't regret it because I felt like you can't wake up tomorrow and say, oh, you asked me to serve. And I said, no. You asked me to serve. I said, yes. You said you didn't want me. And I left with dignity.
Did they say they didn't want you?
Yeah, that was the idea.
That was the idea?
Yeah, they said they didn't want me. They said when I looked at people, because I wanted to continue. I even flew to Abuja after the whole I flew to Abuja, and another press release came again on a Sunday evening saying I have to resign, and the minister was getting calls from the villa. I'm like, for what? I'm a technical advisor. Going to hit 500K, trying to possibly beg USAID to give me a contract as a technical advisor to government so that maybe I can be paid when there is enough to pay my mortgage and to run my family. And I was walking away from a career to join the government where there are no certainty that all of my reforms and lofty ideas were going to work. I was disrupting my own personal time and liberty. Remember the first day I started work, I asked the people around, when do we go home? I said, it's until the minister leaves. I'm like, what? By 8 years since I've been running budget, I resume whatever I want to resume. I go where I want to go. So it was even personally, it was disruptive for me personally. A lot of people didn't understand that I wasn't that desperate. And when people came up and said, I was taking a huge sacrifice doing this, it's not possible.
So why did you support Buhari in 2015?
So in 2011, and I want to dial back a bit, I'm an anti-establishment person. I do not like, and I think it's just because the frustration of how I've never believed that the Nigerian leadership, either from Obasanjo to Yaradua to Jonathan, I never think we have gotten the optimal quality. Obasanjo did well to some extent, but I think from Yaradua, things started falling down. And it's just because we are not deliberate in political leadership formation. Everybody you see there was either handpicked or circumstance found them there. I mean, look at China. Xi Jinping passed through a Chinese school. There's a school of leadership in China that premiers, the supreme leader, everybody is groomed through. The UK have the Eton College, they have Oxford, they have Cambridge. So there is, but we have leadership that someone just feels he's going to be the most loyal person. So having a huge dissatisfaction within the Nigerian state and its leadership. And a small window of hope I had with Buhari then was, he acted like someone was separate from the system. He didn't join the establishment. He acted as if he was going to not bring new ideas in, but at least you could have a sense of incorruptibility in him. That was the idea that was being sold. And for someone like me who was purist about that, public office must be efficient first, because it destroys the culture of public office when it's all about how much I can grab. You can't even get anything efficient happen. So I started that premise that at least let's even get an incorruptible leadership first to model. Then quietly, everything we want to build as a country will fall into place. Unfortunately,
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live. State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live. Stay tuned. State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
program is State Affairs on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. If you were listening online, I just finished playing an interview with Seun Onigbinde of Budget. I just played you about 7 or 8 minutes of that interview. So welcome back to Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. You listened to the Tola Adeniyi interview on Operation Wetir. You listened to Sevio Badamosi talking about the transatlantic slave trade. You also listened to the statement released by Jega and Co. entitled Nigeria at a Dangerous Crossroads. Nigeria at a dangerous crossroads. Is Nigeria at a dangerous crossroads? In that statement, Jega, Gambari and Co. said institutions have been compromised, weakened, and subordinated to the interest of the executive arm of government. Chief Tola Adeniyi also made that point in this interview. He made that point. And when institutions are compromised, when institutions are weakened, like the police has been weakened, that is why you see the police do the things they do. It's an institution that has been compromised. It is fighting to survive. When an institution is poorly funded, when the money meant to fund the police is brazenly stolen, you have compromised the police. And what it simply means, the police will now find a way to survive. So when you call the police that there's danger, they tell you that there is no petrol in the car. That can you pay for the petrol? Can you pay for investigation? Because the police is poorly funded. The way the army is poorly funded. The elite core of the army might be enjoying, the top guys. But the guys on the field fighting, they are poorly funded. Their salary is so poor that if you pay a policeman with AK-47 that kind of salary, you are indirectly telling the policeman to use his AK-47 to survive. So when institutions are poorly funded, the people will take law into their hands. And kidnapping is one of the ways. You know, when there is chaos, there will be kidnapping. It happened in the Niger Delta. They are still kidnapping in Edo. They are kidnapping in Oyo. Yorubas are also kidnapping. Igbos are kidnapping. But the Fulanis are the best kidnappers at the moment. More kidnappers will rise in Igbo land as long as the Hopus or the Mas, the Soludos are the governors. As long as we have governors that are not funding the state, not funding education, not funding healthcare, kidnappers will rise. Soon you have professor kidnappers. You hear the professor is the leader of the gang. Intellectuals will now put their intellectualism into crime to survive. That is what it means when you say institutions have been compromised, weakened, and subordinated to the interest of politicians. You see, in their statement, they say there is no checks on the powers of the executive, who now govern as they please. You might be saying, okay, they are northerners. If that is how you want to see it, fine. I wish you well. And they made the point that the erosion of institutional independence has fueled public distrust to the highest level in our history. That is how Jonathan eroded public institutions. That is how Buhari weakened public institutions. Obasanjo weakened public institutions. See, Obasanjo weakened institutions and became so powerful personally. Obasanjo could remove a Senate president. He removed Okadibo. Obasanjo could threaten the chairman of the PDP, Aduogbe. He removed him. So once a president begins to do that, he becomes an all-powerful president. So he's weakening institutions. And as you weaken institutions, the people will react in their own way. Because you have grabbed power, citizens will grab power in their own way. And some will grab power through crime. Since you are not funding the university, the vice chancellor will steal money. Because nothing will happen. Since you, the president, meant to fund universities, money meant for universities, you are stealing it and keeping it for election purposes. The minister will steal his own. By the time the little money gets to the vice chancellor, and they look at, these guys are also stealing. By the way, we are the intellectuals. They will take their own court. Because they need to survive. Their salary is poor. They want to survive. So at the end of the day, money meant for funding will be taken as survival money. Before you know it, it becomes a careless stealing. Everybody's grabbing. HOD will steal. The student union government will steal. Because everybody's stealing, even within the university system. The students that is the head of the association of the department will steal from student contribution. They are all stealing as we are talking. Go to universities, everybody's stealing. Some steal more than others. We have totally deregulated corruption. You employ somebody today to work with you, he's stealing. And once you have that, you have chaos. All right, the lines are open now. Let's talk. This caller has called before. No, I'm not going to take this call. He has called before. Yes, I promised to call J.K. Olashupon. J.K. Olashupon called. So J.K., I will have to call you. I promised to call you. So J.K., are you there? J.K. Olashupon. Hello, J.K.
Thank you, Edmond.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Good. Make your point.
You are well done. I enjoyed the interview with Chief Tola Adeniyi. And Chief Tola Adeniyi has said much about it. What he did not add was that the Yoruba's weapon goes beyond that of all this juju or this or that. The Yorubas, they have brains. The military force, or what do we call it now, resides in the north or elsewhere. But the brain to hold these countries together resides in the southwest. Once this kidnapping and other things touches the Yoruba land, I think it's coming to an end. Because we have beyond that. We have the brains, then we have the press, probably because of education at that axis. When you see, since this thing happened at Ogbomoso, you see the level of discussion, people over social media, in the press elsewhere. All this push are not coming from other zones of the country, particularly from the north, where this thing domiciles initially. In 2015, I didn't support President Buhari, the late president. Some friends came to me, they said, well, after announcing the election result, they said I lost because I did not support somebody that won the election. I said, you are the one losing. Okay, look at it. What is happening today? Okay, the current president is telling us that he inherited a woeful, a bastardized system. A bastardized economy from who? Is it not from the same party? From 2015 to 2018. 2019, I mean. And look at it now. What I want to add is that you have said it all. And the unfortunate thing is that you have the educated ones, even among us, celebrating all these ignoramus ruling us. At times, they look at affiliations, they look at ethnicity, they look at many other things that is related to them to justify their choice, which is not. You have to have national interest above personal interest. And that is what is lacking in this part of the world. I support what you are saying that merely talking is not enough. We have to take practical steps. And that practical steps will take us somewhere. And how do we take it? We need to throw yourself into it beyond the personal gravitation of what we call it now, personal enrichment. You don't think about that one, you think about the system. When you have a working system, then you have a country. Thank you, Edmund. Well done.
Thank you, JK. JK has made his point. Do you have a point to make? The number to call, 080-349-18449. That is 080-349-18449. Please restrict your call to 1 minute because we're about rounding off. 1 minute. Hello, good morning.
Oluwatoyin is my name from Kute Ibadan. When you fail to educate the people, then you should be ready to give them weapons. Because the people you fail to educate would be ready to take from those who are sacrificing on the platter of education and hijacking with weapons. Awolowo, Bolaige, and the likes of the educated past heroes give education, but our present leaders are giving weapons, and that is why it is take it by force and by violence. Thank you.
Thank you. Straight to the point. I like that. Hit the nail on the head. You can't take more than 1 minute here.
Our present leaders are giving weapons, and that is why.
Okay, that one is plain. That caller is plain. What is going on? I've made the point. Once you call, turn off your radio. Sam Legend, you have 1 minute.
Hello.
Sam Legend, you have 1 minute.
Yeah, thank you very much. I guess I'm the last person. Yeah, thank you very much. I think what caught my attention, what you said today was garbage in, garbage out. You see, what you put into the system is what you get. Oh, of course, we are complaining. You know, that point you made struck me. The people that are leading us, they are from us. So it's a function of a mindset. And I appreciate that you said you are interested in changing our mindset, which you have done. Of course, myself, I've been following over a decade, and you have really impacted. If I'm one of your products, I could say you have really done a good job on me, because that mindset has shifted. You are really doing a good job by fine-tuning our mindset, which has affected a lot of people. You're changing mindset, garbage in, garbage out. The way we think, those are the things that affect us generally. Honestly, you are doing a good job. Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity you have given me.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you. You have 1 minute. Hello, good morning. This caller, why do you keep monitoring the radio? I don't understand. Simple instruction. Then when you call, I pick your call, you speak, and stop monitoring your radio. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Edmund.
Good morning.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Ugo. I want to say thank you for the good job you are doing in sensitizing Nigerians. I listened to you keenly on today's edition. While we are talking, while we know of Stockholm Syndrome, whereby captors begin to sympathize with their, whereby captives begin to sympathize with their captors, I think the Nigerian syndrome is even worse. I don't know if you have seen the clip in the election that is taking place today, I believe, where bread was thrown from the vehicle to people, and people were scampering for it. Is that how Nigerians have been reduced to? So indeed, we need more than talk. We need work. And I think the electorates or Nigerians, the battered Nigerians should rise up and ensure that our nation, Nigeria, does not continue to drift in this way. So once more, thank you for the good job.
Thank you. Oyewoshola Simeon, I can see you on Facebook. Thank you for always being there. Haliru Idoko, thank you. I can see your message. Obia Okita Emmanuel, thank you for joining the broadcast. Yemi Buraimo, thank you. Steve Crown, you say no democracy in existence. Thank you for joining the program. Saida Detumbi, good to see you again. It's been long I read your message. Yes, so I'm seeing my guys again. I'll begin to read your messages again from next week. So keep following, keep commenting, keep believing, and get ready to act. When you are called upon, do not relent. I have to go now. Thank you for joining the program. I am Edmund Obilo. Bye for now.